Elon Musk sends tens of thousands of SpaceX satellites. Should we be concerned? We are all aware that technology is a double-edged sword. Undoubtedly, it is a boon to humanity, but sometimes it turns out to be a bane for our planet. While Elon Musk is considered to be the flag bearer, this time, this genius billionaire's endeavor to send tens of thousands of SpaceX satellites is apparently raising concerns. In today's video, we're going to cast light on this issue. Hey everyone, welcome to Tech United. Here you can explore the latest developments in the world of technology. Subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon to continue getting quality content about Elon Musk and technology. That being said, let's begin. Imagine a swarm of tens of thousands of communication satellites orbiting the Earth. If you cannot assess the problem behind this, you should really rethink it. This scenario is gradually taking shape, and astronomers are alarmed. NASA and a group of astronomers have published a paper laying out their specific worries, as well as how all of these satellites may have a significant detrimental influence on ground-based astronomy. SpaceX is looking around the Earth with a sharp commercial eye. However, several other corporations are also planning to follow them, and the total number of satellites will eventually reach the tens of thousands. NASA has raised the red flags as Elon Musk's SpaceX prepares to launch more than 40,000 small satellites into orbit to construct a mega constellation capable of providing broadband internet coverage all across the world, especially in rural and underserved areas. Since 2019, SpaceX has launched dozens of flights using its reusable rocket technology to launch thousands of Starlink satellites into orbit. Let's first try to understand what Starlink is and what's the issue behind it that is raising concerns. Starlink is a constellation of satellites that delivers high-speed internet connectivity. SpaceX's objective with this new service is to give high-speed, low-latency broadband internet connections to underserved portions of the Earth, such as rural areas. Customers connect to the satellites with a tiny satellite receiver installed in their homes. The FCC authorized the latest versions of these satellites terminals in November 2021, and they can be deployed anywhere there is an unobstructed view of the sky. The majority of individuals find that placing the receiver high up on a pole or on the roof of their house gives them an amazing internet service. Elon Musk, the CEO of SpaceX, first unveiled Starlink in 2015. The program has launched about 2,000 satellites since then, with more on the way. Musk wants thousands of satellites circulating in low Earth orbit to link with all of Starlink's ground transceivers in the end. If you've ever used satellite internet, you're probably aware of how it may create latency or buffer, making activities like gaming or video conferencing problematic. The SpaceX Starlink satellites operate at a lower orbit than prior satellites to address difficulties like these. Faster speeds and lower latency are the results. Because the satellites are so close to Earth, they don't cover the same amount of ground. That's why the corporation has to launch so many of these little satellites, or small sats as they are known. The business has created gateways around the world to let the satellites interact, but they're presently experimenting with laser technology to allow the satellites to communicate directly without the use of a gateway. This implies that after Starlink customers install the Starlink kit, the antenna will automatically identify and connect to the closest satellite, because the satellites orbit in a chain. Each one will eventually discover the one before it, resulting in a smooth connection for the user. Each Starlink satellite has been characterized as a solar-powered wireless router that can fly. The satellites include a phased array of antennas on the side facing Earth to link the user terminal, commonly referred to as pizza box ground stations. They also have Hall-effect krypton gas thrusters, which help them maintain orbit while also assisting in a deorbit burn when they become defunct. Because of the low orbit that Starlink maintains, they are putting in place a train arrangement. Satellites in a higher orbit can be seen from a wider region on the ground. That field is less in a lower orbit, but Starlink compensates by having so many more satellites in a row. Starlink today has over 145,000 users in around 25 countries across the world. There are now more than 2,000 active satellites circling Earth. There aren't enough satellites in the sky to provide flawless coverage, so the need to launch more satellites has eventually appeared. But its consequences are really bad news. Many individuals have reported seeing a Starlink constellation moving across the night sky since the satellites are in such low orbit. It may look dazzling to the common people, but actually it's the opposite. Space technology experts have been raising objections for a long time. In late 2021, the head of the European Space Agency, Joseph Aschbacher, stated that Musk was setting the rules in space. Aschbacher demanded that the EU and other nations work together to guarantee that SpaceX's constellation does not impede other governments or firms from launching their own satellites. That's not all. Following two near encounters between the Chinese space station and Starlink satellites, China openly accused the US of violating international treaty duties. accusing SpaceX of doing so. In July and October of 2021, China said its space station was forced to maneuver to avoid satellites. Astronomers are growing concerned that the launch of tens of thousands of satellites would result in irreversible alterations to the night sky. Manufacturers have already made design adjustments to make satellites less visible from Earth, in response to similar objections, but it is not enough. However, Elon Musk has dismissed claims that his firm is monopolizing space by claiming that his tens of thousands of planned satellites would be able to live with many others. In an interview with the Financial Times, Musk denied claims that SpaceX was monopolizing radio airwaves and orbital slots. He said, "Space is just extremely enormous, and satellites are very tiny. This is not some situation where we're effectively blocking others in any way. We've not blocked anyone from doing so, nor do we expect to." Musk equated the number of satellites to the 2 billion automobiles on the Earth's surface, implying that tens of billions of satellites may be launched. According to the Financial Times, one astrophysicist disputes this assertion, claiming that satellites require huge distances to safely avoid accidents. If you have a childhood dream of traveling in space, think about it again. Traffic does not exist only on the road. NASA is really concerned about SpaceX's mega constellation due to the possibility of a collision in Earth's orbit. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration expressed concerns to the Federal Communications Commission, or FCC, about the potential for a considerable rise in the frequency of conjunction occurrences and probable repercussions on NASA's scientific and human spaceflight programs. There are currently 25,000 objects in orbit around the Earth, with more than 6,000 of them having almost 600 kilometers diameter. Low Earth orbit is described as an altitude of 2,000 kilometers or less, which is the height at which satellite networks like Starlink would function. NASA also stated that SpaceX's extension of Starlink will more than triple the number of monitored objects in orbit and more than five-fold the number of objects below 600 kilometers. Currently, SpaceX has ambitions to launch 40,000 satellites into space. Looking at satellite influences on space, Jonathan McDowell, a Harvard-Smithsonian astrophysicist who is a part of an American Astronomical Society team, stated, "We've been concerned with having these large number of satellites that interfere with astronomical observations. I believe we will need more experience with the thousands of operational satellites before ramping up to the tens of thousands." NASA wrote to the FCC, with increase in large constellation proposals to the FCC, NASA has concerns with the potential for a significant increase in the frequency of conjunction events and possible impacts to NASA's science and human spaceflight missions. In this case, conjunction refers to satellites passing nearby other objects. The FCC is presently investigating SpaceX's licensing application for a new generation of satellites, the Starlink Gen 2. Hence, the latter was submitted to them. This has become a major problem for the SpaceX project, but the issue raised by NASA and many astronauts is not something to take lightly. Previously, astronauts have also complained about the lights of Starlink satellites that are hindering the astronauts to work freely in space. Traffic is really an irritating thing to face every day on the roads, but now the enormous space also becomes the victim of it. Let's see how things go on and what decision the FCC makes. What do you think about it? Don't forget to share your views in the comments section. That's all for now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Consider giving it a like if you want to appreciate our efforts. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss another update from the channel. We'll see you in another video. Until then, peace.